First of all, you had 518 and 643.
Yeah, it's worded wrong. It looks like 518 is for TIFA to pay,
Right.
and 326 is for the city to pay. It should add up to the 845, right?
Right.
It doesn't
So,
though. I mean, it's like,
one of my questions is, why don't this go through planning?
Madam Chair, I don't, does this go through ARC, Laura?
Madam Chair, it does go through ARC for an administrative approval. It's not required to go through Planning Commission. It's not a major building. It's looked upon as an accessory structure to the golf course, to help the golf course function. It's not a
So-
standalone building or standalone business.
So if Watson Engineering seems that they have that over there, and you're adding the building, you don't have to go through planning.
If they were adding a garage or something
isn't
to
a
house
garage.
their equipment or something, they may not.
This isn't
It just
a garage.
depends on the use.
And it seems like this should go through planning.
Madam Chair, I think the other thing is most government buildings don't go through planning, do they, Laura? I don't think any of our
That's
buildings.
why they should.
I'm just saying, I mean,
That's why they should.
there's, I mean, it goes through the internal review, it goes through the architectural review committee that has the engineering firms, it has our engineer, it has our planner, it has representatives from the building department. The only thing it doesn't go through is the planning commission portion of it.
I got a
It's
few
for the
questions.
maintenance building.
The
This
golf?
transfer of property,
Yeah.
what does this have to do with the golf course? I mean, what, is this gonna knock money off?
Yeah.
Or is it,
Madam
what
Chair.
is this, what was this valued at?
Oh, geez, I'm glad you asked, sorry, I did actually print out some packages of Jerry's analysis that he did, and there's some comparisons. We knew that this particular vendor was interested in the property, so we asked that if he was interested to include it as part of his proposal. So kind of like what we did with Al's Asphalt. It's actually the additional property that we split. Al's kept 3 acres of it, and we traded them for services. And this proposal includes the balance of that property, and his price is reflected accordingly.
So
Who
what
gets
was,
the property?
I'm sorry?
Who gets the property?
Who gets the property?
Yeah.
Persiconi. His proposal to us includes us trading him the 3 acres, or 3.5, whatever it
It's
is.
still that expensive.
I'm sorry?
And it's still that expensive on this building.
And it's still lower than the next bid, a lot lower. They're all pretty high.
I guess one of the issues that I can't understand is we sold a $800,000 building, and where we were parking our carts, and now we're building an $850,000. I mean, I know we got a fire engine in the deal, but I just think this is overkill in my opinion. I mean, $850,000 for a cart barn is just, I know TIF is paying for it, but I'm looking at the big picture.
Well, we're not
and
paying
that's
all of it.
right. And I know we were saying that we were going to pay $300,000 to $400,000 for one, but I just.
Well, I'll let Jeff speak to the necessity of the building, and he can explain that.
So, Madam Chair, the cart, it's not just a cart barn, it's also our maintenance facility. Our maintenance facility that holds all the equipment to maintain the Taylor Meadows. It has to have a area for chemical storage. It has to have a place for mixing the chemicals, so if they're spilled. It has to have, it's a 16,000 square foot building. We have to park 85 electric carts. We have to have drops for all the chargers to plug all that in. We need, all of our irrigation will be ran out of that building, so we have to have it wired and it'll be a server for all the irrigation in that building. It'll have a superintendent's office. It'll have a washroom, an eye wash, a room if they get spilled chemicals on themselves.
My question is, it's like we are paying a subcontractor to do all that stuff. So now we're building a bigger building to house all their equipment and, give them offices and all that stuff. Am I wrong? Or
Madam Chair, to Mr. Woolley's comment, no, but they have it currently. That's what we currently have at both locations. We have it in our DPW Animal Control building at Lakes. This is comparable. Actually, this is a little bit smaller. This is actually a little bit smaller.
Madam Chair, back to the question about the cost. if we would have stayed in the FIA building, we would have had to invest serious money in it to stay in it. It wouldn't have been it's not an equitable, because in this case, you're getting a brand-new facility that addresses all future concerns. And I'll be honest with you, Councilman, we beat this thing up, and Jeff and I have had several conversations. This is higher than we wanted, but when we go back to the process, the original proposal, the low bid was like 1.4 million.
Correct.
And we scaled this thing way back down to almost bare minimum just to get out of the FIA and into an affordable building. So remember, we sold that building for $800,000, and the vision was always we would use the proceeds to basically build a new building. We did buy a fire truck, yeah, and 2 Suburbans or Tahoes as well. They both, I think, were funded from the proceeds also.
It's just a fire truck at the end.
So the building will be the maintenance building for that golf course, and they'll have the cart barn and everything inclusive in that building, but.
Correct. And a territory.
But the land will be owned by,
We're using the land the same way we traded, this is the same property that we traded Al's Asphalt. Remember when we traded them to do work in the city? This is the balance of what remains on that site. This is property we took back from the DEQ. Jerry's explanation is something that the DEQ in the 90s had a surplus. They were just offering it back to local municipalities. We don't have a dollar invested in the land itself. This is directly behind other property he owns, so it's valuable to him, but it's kind of like the Al situation. It really isn't valuable to anybody else. So we knew that this was an opportunity to barter and reduce the price and put that property back on the tax rolls.
okay, so it's not the property that the building will be on?
No.
Okay, I got you now.
No.
So it's, so 845 total, and that's not including the so it's a cost of 845
Plus about
plus
$100,000.
$100,000 of property.
And I think Jerry's analysis is pretty aggressive, but I don't think you'd get $100,000 for the property, but it is what it is.
Is that the same property that backs up off of Beach Daily where they tore down where they initially were building a housing,
No,
a subdivision and then tore it down?
no, this is just a wooded parcel like off of Brest Road in Beach Daily.
It would
Okay.
butt up against, where Truman's parking lot, their student parking
Yes.
lot is.
Oh, okay.
If it butts up like right against the fence.
Madam Chair, the property that Randall's talking about is actually where we're building the golf course now and the cart barn.
Okay.
So I was doing some looking, 16,000 square foot. This is a cart barn, but it has bathrooms, it has offices, it has heating, cooling, it has drainage, it has a special system for the storm, for the water retention and all that.
So golf
No,
staff
no
personnel will
sound.
be in there though?
So,
Right, no, okay.
A cart barn, a pole barn would cost $37 a square foot to build.
And this is gonna
A
be
house.
about $63 a square foot. I don't think
The
that's
house
fair.
is going back, when I was building mine, was going for 125 a square foot. I think when they first brought it to us, saying that it would cost around 400,000, it was low. What do? We gotta have a place for it too,
Madam Chair, we were looking at 400,000. What we were looking at is that the average cost was about $50 a square foot. And that's still true today. If you're just building a building, that's what it costs, but you have hookups, you have other things that have to be factored into this. There's
Electrical is
excavation.
huge.
Yeah, the electrical, there's also the bins outside that the stuff, like the mulch and the dirt and the sand is all being stored in. There's the extra stuff required by the golf course, the cleanings, all that stuff. So I had hoped that we would be at like 10,000 square feet at the time. But when we actually broke it out and looked at Valley Crest needs, as well as the golf course staff, the carts, and all of the other needs, unfortunately, the building grew to 16,000 square feet. And we have beat that up, 14 different ways to try to, downsize it, and Jeff feels that was the absolute smallest that we could get to.
Do we know what Persiconi wants to do with that property he's trading?
He owns the adjacent parcel, so I suspect he'll combine it. Because then he has a bigger parcel to try to develop later on.
Do you know what he wants to develop or have any idea?
I don't know. No.
On the bid sheet, it says the following items are not included by this bid. Underground utilities removal, front landscaping, asphalt paving, side kick out and the mezzanine, so that's gonna be an additional cost when it's done?
Well, it's already been approved. That was all part of the golf course redesign package. So all of that's included in the golf course redesign.
Okay,
Because remember, we had all the excavating work and the utility shutoffs that were part of that failed development there.
so this will include the 845 grand?
That's all in, so that's the final component that we have remaining is just the approval that's in front of you guys.
Okay, so this being part of that, okay.